Playing on a Budget is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best Magic the Gathering singles and sealed retailer on the internet, GatheringMagic.com, your #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content, and RogueDeckBuilder.com, my personal channel filled with innovative and entertaining Magic the Gathering rogue brews. Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with match number 4 with the green-white enchantments. This is going to be another mulligan. And I think that we can get away with this card. The Starfield of Nyx, the more and more I play this, the more I think this needs to be relegated to a sideboard. Maybe just one of in the main board. I think that with a little bit of tweaking, we've been so close on so many different games that I think that it's just going to be those few tweaks that are going to be the difference between finishing off our opponents, and then we're one turn behind on so many games. So we'll go Fortified Village here, go Canopy Vista, and Oath, because we do want to find a land. And I think the land is probably better than the Pantheon. Want to hit all the land drops here. So this turn we can Canopy Vista into play tapped, and Vessel. Which it looks like another Naya, which is going to be rough. I think that out of all the matchups, this is the hardest one for us. Nissa comes out, puts a plant into play. Can't quite quarantine field it yet. We can definitely Vessel. I actually think Herald of the Pantheon's better here, and just put a Canopy Vista into play tapped. See if Gideon comes out. So it's just this is Naya walkers. Could be a quarantine field. Going to take my Herald of Pantheon. Okay, that's fine. And he gets another plant token. Man, Virulent Plague seems like it's the best card in the world right now in these matchups. Pacifist is okay. I can quarantine field his quarantine field. But I don't think that's a decent play either. I think he's just going to start trying to get value off his Nissa. I think we have to quarantine field it. And then pass. See if he's got another one in his hand. Getting up to Chandra. Mana here. Gideon would be rough too. No, he's going to Angelic Purge to get back his Nissa. And what he killed it and put another plant out. Okay, I see what he did. Fortunately, we can't do anything with the Auramancer. The Pacifist is weird too. I'm just going to sack the Vessel to try to find something. At this point, we want the Sigil, but we don't really have... I think I just take the Canopy Vista or the Herald of Pantheon. The Vista still comes into play tap, though, so we can't Auramancer this turn. The Oath of Nissa, but it's still probably the better play. Hate using that on just a land, but we desperately need that land. And I'm still second guessing the Lambholt Pacifist in this deck. I'm thinking Advocate might just be better. Because by the time we were going to use it for the Elemental Bond, see what he does with Gideon. Just puts out a 2/2. Okay. So, let's see what we can do here. We can Stasis Snare. Cast another Vessel. Auramancer's probably the right call here. To get back the Sigil. And we'll Vessel. And then just pass. But this is where it gets scary. He's going to start putting counters on his creatures. Keep pumping them out. He still has 3 cards in hand. We have to cast the Sigil next turn and then still wait to get any value out of it. He's going to attack him with Gideon, huh? Alright, so we will take out the token and just take the damage. Still 2 cards in our opponent's hand. At this point, we just have to put out the Sigil. I could justify the Stasis Snare for Gideon. He's just got to secure the waste here. Jeez. Archangel Avacyn. Am I just dead? How much can I block? He puts a counter on everything with Nissa again. That's 2, 4, 6. I have to block the... block one of the plant tokens. And go dangerously low. Vessel does give me another 4/4. But I still think I die no matter what. Because he just activates Gideon. That's all he needs to do. Or Needle Spires. Or both. And attacks with everything in the... no matter what, I take a ton. Because I can get rid of one of them, block another one, and then take 9. Womp womp. Just missing just something in this deck. I mean, all of our Pantheons have been destroyed pretty quickly to try to get that little ramp edge of getting the Starfield of Nyx or the Sigil of Empty thrown out early. So let's go ahead and bring in one more Quarantine Field, take out a Starfield of Nyx. The Auramancers are kind of weird. Den Protector I just like a lot more in this deck. And then I think Planar Outburst doesn't need to come in versus a token strategy. Hallowed Moonlight would be wonderful in this deck. Clipwings is okay versus just Avacyn. Is there enough? Yeah, Silkwraps are bad in this particular match. So we will definitely just bring in one. I think one Clipwing is fine. Dromoka Expanse okay. Gets rid of a Quarantine Field. And I think at this point, maybe just an Auramancer is the right call or a Pulse. And we'll submit this. It happens, though. This is the bane of being a brewer. Some of the brews just do not work out. We are in a competitive league, not a friendly league, competitive league. So a lot of these are more fine-tuned decks with pilots that are used to playing these decks. This is fine. This is fine. This is keepable hand. We have Oath of Nissa and a bunch of pacifists. We do need white sources, though. Well, I think at this point we just get a Pantheon over Den Protector. Not a card I wanted to see, but at least it gets us closer to a land. I might be a little bit low on the land counts now I thought about it. I just thought Oath of Nissa would find us There's a Vessel. It's going to be the Pantheon. I think it gives us the best chance of ramping into what we need. See if we get Silkwrapped here. Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't want that guy. So at least we can sack a clue to try to draw land. Perfect. All right, that worked out. Oh, we got a forest. Definitely did not want to see a forest. So we have a Pacifist coming down. Hopefully double Pacifist. Fortified Village. You know what? It's actually Vessel here. We're going to sack the Vessel. I think just continue to grab white sources. And he gets a Tireless Tracker and a land. Again, that's probably a card that I want in this deck. So Tranquil Expanse is just weaker. Neither one of them, we can't get the Sigil out this turn, so I think we just go double Pacifist. And the Tireless Tracker is going to get huge. So all of our pacifists, yes, they do all flip over. That ends up working out good for us. Now we get a Plains. We needed that forever ago. We'll go ahead and attack in with the Butchers. He'll let it go through. Probably has a Declaration of Stone coming up. At this point, we have to use a Sigil. And the Clip Wings is going to be bad. But he has to deal with all the Butchers, which, if it's a Declaration of Stone, we get to draw a ton of cards. All right, that's fine. We get to draw lots of cards. It did 12 damage to him. Looks like not a Nissa. Could be another Tireless Tracker. An Angelic Purge. Oh, yep. To kill my Sigil. So now we need to start cracking the clues. Jeez. The Pulse is very, very weak. We can get a land back. Not quite sure that's how I want to do this. Stasis Snare was good against the Tireless Tracker. Tireless Tracker and Pulse actually seem good too. And here comes the tokens. So Tracker's going to know they're 6 to me. Need to find something relevant. Elemental Bond would be good. I think we do just cast the Elemental Bond. But we're dead. Next turn we're dead no matter what. Yeah, that was not the right play. So the clues found us all lands. Could not find another way to get the Sigil. Because the Pulse gets us 6 life back, but then now we don't have the mana for the Stasis Snare. The Stasis Snare, we're perfectly at 8. So I have to Stasis Snare the Tireless Tracker. Which is something I did not want to do. I don't want to give another opportunity for a clue, but We'll go to a 1 here. But I'm pretty sure that there's no coming out of this. Especially with drawing into the pulse gets us 6 life, that's 7, so it's perfect damage. We can't actually even, yeah, had to draw a non-land card there. Because that just gets back the Evolving Wilds. Maybe he doesn't go in with Gideon. All he has to do is attack me with Gideon and force me out of the Stasis Snare. Hope he just actually negatives Gideon, because that's lethal too. Nah, I don't want him to plus Gideon. I just want him to negative Gideon here. And that's the worst thing, because we die. Yep. Okay, so if we had a Stasis Snare, we survive. I was thinking that he just negatives Gideon. And yeah, it's game. Because it's 8 damage. We make him sack that. So Clipwings ends up actually being useful later on, but just once again, way too many lands. Way too many lands. We had not enough cards to work with on that. So terrible showing with the deck. I think it needs some tweaking. We'll go on to the wrap-up video here. Awful 04 showing. Thanks for watching. Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with a wrap-up video for the Green-White Enchantments. Well, this was an experiment that went terribly. That's the good thing about this video, though. I guarantee you, if you watch other channels, some of these bigger names, they cherry-pick their games. They cherry-pick their games like crazy just to show you the most flashy matchups. I mean, there's a particular person that I always watch that always goes 4-0. 4-0 on every one of them, every one of his videos, and you can tell. You can tell they're a little bit staged. If you just give enough of a sample size, you can pick and choose those matches to win. So here at Playing on a Budget, we'll show you the 0-4 matchups as well. I think that the statistics was not kind to, we had some rough matchups. We had some very, very rough matchups with this deck. A lot of control decks, which is not going to be the it's not going to be the strength of this deck for sure. This deck wants to stabilize for the Sigil. A lot of those decks were running main boarded ways to get rid of Sigil. If not, then more sideboarded ways to get rid of Sigil. Right now, I probably wouldn't run this deck just because of Dromoka's Command and Tragic Arrogance, and actually we're getting hit by the Anguish Unmaking, which not too long ago was almost an unplayable card with how fast the decks were. The Anguish Unmaking was just a card that a lot of these control decks were not throwing in because of the 3 life. But if the metagame does switch, I think there is merit to this deck, and if we get a nice little enchantment in the next set, in the Eldritch Moon, I think that this could easily be an archetype that could come to fruition. So first of all, let me see what I liked, what I didn't like. What I didn't like is this Gryff Boon. It's out. What I also didn't like, these Lambholt Pacifist main boarded. They are out. What I did like was the Den Protectors. They are in. What I think we absolutely need of is a ton of in this deck is the Howled Moonlight. We'll just go down to 1 clip wings. Howled Moonlight, I think, should be in here as a 2 of or a 3 of. I think it's very powerful right now in the metagame. Starfield of Nyx main board, out. I think just one Starfield of Nyx, if you have it, it can. We are so close on a couple of those games just to cast Starfield and swing in for lethal. Just what, 2 damage off on that one on the game versus the company deck. I did like the Oath of Nissas and the Vessels. What I don't like is these where'd they go? The Tranquil Expanses. We're going to put in Evolving Wilds. I think that it thins out our deck. It gives us a land in the graveyard that we can get with Pulse and allows us to run Tireless Tracker. I think Tireless Tracker is a wonderful option in this deck as possibly a 4 of, as it just draws us a lot of cards and it triggers off that elemental bond. I just think it's superior to the Pacifist. Now, I understand the Pacifist needs to come in probably versus decks that are very, very quick, because it just kind of plays the role of the kind of roadblock. Dromoka's command, I think it can go down. I don't think that it has much. In fact, I think that we probably just want one in the sideboard. It's very awkward now without the Pacifist especially. It was a way of getting a Pacifist online. I'm just going to put one of in the sideboard. Quarantine Field, I actually thought Quarantine Field was quite good. I do want one Pulse of Murasa main board now that we have the Evolving Wilds that we can get back with the Pulse. Possibly we still don't need it, but the Pulse has just sweet interactions with the Den Protector. I'm liking the Auramancer sideboard. So, yeah, maybe the Pulse doesn't need to be in the main. A 2-2 split, our Den Protector is just better than Auramancer's, because they can get back that Evolving Wilds now. It can get back the Tireless Trackers. It can get back a Pulse combo. I think the verdict is still out there for which is better. I think we'll just go a 2-2 split, but the sideboard I'll go a 2-2 split as well. So how about that? I think that we have to cut one card still. In all honesty, I think it just might be the redundancy of the Starfield of Nyx. Do we want 3 of in the sideboard? I still thought we might want another Planar Outburst. Or even go up to 4 of Quarantine Field in the sideboard. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut the Pacifists completely. And that allows us to put a Quarantine Field back. So a full package of Quarantine Fields, which I think are actually pretty good in this deck. And yeah, that to me seems like a lot better little mix of cards. I still think 23 lands is fine. I think that the Den Protector is a little more versatile than the Auramancer. The Elemental Bond still does trigger off the Tireless Tracker. Unfortunately, it doesn't trigger off the Auramancer. I almost feel like splashing for black, but at that point with the Wasteland Strangler, and then I'd probably want the Knight, the 3/2 Knight that gets +1/+1 and lifelink if you control an enchantment. I think there's some merit with that. And then we'd have into Shambling Vent that we could easily splash into this deck, as well as Caves of Kolos that we could put in. And then that allows us to then have Wasteland Strangler and the cursed vampire, the one that gets +1/+1 lifelink. Those are both very good. They both trigger off the Elemental Bond. I think that has some merit into going, but then that increases the cost of this deck by quite a bit. Shambling Vents, I think you'd want to go up to 25 lands. Makes the basic forest go way down. So I think that like Fortified Village or Canopy Vista needs to be just cut completely, and then you'd want like Llanowar Wastes and Caves just to really make sure that you have the right sources, and then you're doing damage to yourself. So at that point, I'm not quite sure that's the route to go. Wasteland Strangler is a very powerful card against certain decks. It kills Sylvan Advocates, Tireless Trackers. It kills the opposing Duskwatch Recruiters, things like that, after you've got value. So I think that there's some merit into splashing for black. Black also gets, I think, some decent enchantments. He has Deadweight. I thought Deadweight was pretty good against the aggro. Deadweight probably is redundant, though, with a deck that runs Silkwrap and Stasis Snare. But you also have some decent little cards as far as, at that point, you can run Angelic Purge. And I even think that at that point, you can actually run the Demonic Pact. Or is that what it's called? Demonic Pact, that allows you to have the 4 modes. The last mode is lose the game, but the first mode is 4 damage and 4 life. Draw 2 cards, and then opponent discards 2 cards. That is something you could easily get rid of with your own Angelic Purge. Or like Dromoka's command, you can make yourself. Does it say opponent sacks an enchantment, or can you actually sack an enchantment? Target player sacks an enchantment. So there's a way you can actually sack your own enchantment. Actually has some nice little synergy off Starfield of Nyx by being able to Starfield of Nyx and then attack in with it as a 4/4. So might be getting too cute at that point, but I think Abzan Enchant is also definitely a route that could be feasible. So anyway, let me know what you thought about this list. I think it has merit to it. I'll run one more game on the Rogue Deck Builder channel. And if nothing else, this is a different brew. We haven't seen a deck like this in quite some time, and I thought I'd at least give it a go. Was it successful? Probably not. Anyway, this has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.